We also had, for those of you who attended the training this morning, we had Hadley Barrett from Oxford Management. And what's very interesting, they do both real estate development and investments. They have an investment fund. And I think it's very important, they're putting their money where their mouth is. That's one thing. But what's very interesting is this is a company that was founded on the principle of promoting sustainable development and really sees this as its core strategy. And I think others are moving in this direction, but Oxford Management has taken the step and is an investor and is raising funds based on these principles and is investing these funds based on these principles. So so if you look at, from my perspective at the start of this, very early we had 6 investors, developers, interested in building green. And now we had a problem. How do we help them build it without solution providers? So that was shortly overcome as word spread, and we found out. I don't think we brought these. Many of these companies have been doing green building solutions for many years, but I think able to connect the dots, hopefully that serves some purpose. But they're all very interesting companies. You'll hear from some of them. But we brought basically these companies in, and now we can connect them with developers who want to build green. And the developers know that in Romania, this isn't, these solutions are available. So more of our solution providers as well. And then the last part is the occupiers. Who is buying these homes? And who is renting these offices? And who is going to make these investments? And then we also had founding member, Antis Real, has stepped forward, and they see this as a strategy to look and to promote green building within their workforce and to help educate their clients on the benefit of office and residential on why they should be looking for green building, and if they are already looking for green building, how they can find it. But there are many different issues that have to be considered now, and so they've taken a step to look at that. So what I've basically said was, or let's say forecasted, was that we have significant trouble for this circle of blame. It's starting to crack, and there's starting to be movement in all areas. So what is next? Basically, from our council's job, I'm going to talk a little bit about our objectives, is we want to facilitate green building training. We did this, as I mentioned, in April's conference, Build Green CEE, also this morning's session. And we want to put together a monthly lecture series where we bring in either a green architect or a particular company to educate architectural students, engineering students, business students. Also have basically more detailed training. Today's training, I'd say, was a mid-level training, 3.5 hours on the subject, a lot of material to cover, but we could take it farther and more detailed. So we want to provide some of this training that is necessary and not available, but also we want to attract member companies who can deliver this training. I'm sorry, I should mention scholarships as well. For this conference, this training this morning, and also our previous conference and going forward, we've made scholarships available to students to bring them here and to cover the conference costs. We also want to build awareness of the concept of green building. And I showed you a few pictures of the early green cafes that we did. This morning's sessions, again, we hope helped build awareness. We partnered with the Worldwide Fund for Nature with their recent climate caravan, where basically this was Herăstrău, I believe, but they're in Constanța, Brașov, Cluj, and 2 days in Bucharest. And this raised awareness about green building, climate change in general, but what we brought as the Green Building Council was topics about how you can save money by building green. So this was the event. I think it was a successful event. There were many people gathering information and starting again the conversation, and I would have to say overwhelmingly positive feedback when everyone would find out, of course, what the WWF was doing, but also when they heard that we were here and what we were trying to do. I think they were very interested and they wanted immediate information on what was going on. So we put together a RoGBC blog on our website to discuss issues. Also, I won't go into too much details, but Web 3.0 is really the next generation of websites, next generation of searchable data, and we want to combine some of this very high-level technology along with green building knowledge to give people a very interesting searchable database of things. Also media outreach and publications. We want to be involved and help contribute to the media discussion. This from April's conference, this was from Hungary. It was a regional, let's say regional coverage, and we meant for it to be a regional conference. Sofia. And then here in Romania, I think in general the Romania media has done a very good job of picking up on the theme and recognizing its importance and starting to discuss. And then I'm seeing very quickly the questions and the interest really rise very quickly. We also, as a council, want to support green building legislation, as I mentioned before. We want to not create new mechanisms and one more thing to worry about. We want to support what's already good and help clear the way and help it be implemented. And we also want to push for incentives for green building, some green procurement, which I understand is currently in government right now, some incentives and requirements and incentives for procuring green, and also new ideas. In some places, it's possible as a developer to speed up your process through the building code inspection if it's a green building. And this is a very low-cost way to provide the developer a benefit and at the same time encouraging environmentally responsible behavior. And of course, as an activity, we want to promote business opportunities for our members and domestic, regional, and international collaboration. We have member networking events. I think we can consider this evening's event will be in this intention. Pilot projects. We don't want to talk about the theory of green building. We want to demonstrate pilot projects in Romania and really show that things are happening here. We'll hold conferences. We have done in the past. We will in the future. And also this, at the end there, the EU GBC network is a network of green building councils around Europe that we're actively involved in, and we're, I'd say, pushing to really both receive information but also provide something as well, and to really help some of the councils form in our neighboring countries and get them started, because if this is a regional marketplace, this creates a lot more economic opportunity for everybody. And we want to create the regional opportunities for our member companies. And then also knowledge sharing. A lot of green building, there's a lot of new lessons to learn and knowledge that can be shared. So how to get involved? What we'd like to do at this launch, we'd ask you to join us as for those companies that are in the construction or construction related. We're very interested to have your support as members. I will say we want to be a very inclusive organization in that it is not dedicated only to a solar panel manufacturer or a construction company. I would widen this to say banks. I would love to see a bank doing business in Romania step up and say we want to offer a green mortgage, and this could drive it as much as anything. So banks, I think, are included. Could be consulting companies, advertising companies. Our interest is really to build a green economy, and to have, if we consider how much the construction economy really relates, it produces 40% of the carbon emissions, but it also, from that, it also affects a lot of things. There's a lot of energy going into it, and it touches very many industries. So we want to bring all the right people to the table. Our target, based on previous discussions and some of the memberships to date, we're looking to be at 75 to 100 member companies by the end of this year, and growing from that point forward. We have basically what we hope are modest membership fees for both small companies, medium and large companies. And most of my background is business and technology, and I think it's very important that we demonstrate return on investment, so that we don't just take a membership fee, but that membership fee is returned back to the member company. And we want to do that by providing them leads in business as we bring together everybody into the same community. We want to represent your voice and basically, as I said before, demonstrate to government that there are businesses that are interested in taking greater responsibility and having better enforcement of the existing codes and these types of things, and that they don't have to resist it, they can actually prosper from it. And that the innovative companies this will be a strategic competitive advantage if they can do this. We also want to provide positive visibility for the topic, and also quality projects and bring in quality investors. I think a very clear case can be made, and if we look at the companies here, they're all doing projects, they're completing projects, and they will be in the future, that if we look at sustainable investors or green investors, we can consider this is high quality foreign direct investment. These are not speculative people. Speculative investment probably is not looking at how to redo all of their structures. And this is what green building also brings from which is important to an economy. Then also other ideas. We want to keep it open to the member companies to suggest ideas to us. How can we do this better? What can we bring as a green building council? I mentioned some of the other green building councils around the world, but those are in existence. If we have other ideas, we can follow some of their ideas, but also create our own. And why, when I talk about return on investment and what at the end of the day, why is this a good investment? And I think if we look at some of the key drivers that have been driving green building in the last months, strengthening codes, the EPBD certifications, energy prices, and energy security, of course, are very big concerns. If we look at how the markets have been doing in the last 2 weeks, if you look at while the markets had dropped down to numbers of 5 years ago, oil prices, energy prices have returned after that fall to only 1 year ago. And that was before all the run. So the energy price is more expensive now than it was 1.5, 2 years ago. So we still have strategically high energy prices. And we believe as it goes up, it makes the case for green building only stronger. And energy is just one thing when we talk about green buildings. There's materials to use. There's construction scrap to not produce in the first place. But there's a lot of things about green building that can save money and save resources and construction inputs. Another key driver, as I mentioned before, is investor interest in sustainability. Investors are starting to see the numbers now. If we think just 5 years, 10 years ago, there weren't many data points to explain why buildings that are green, why do they rent for more money, why do they sell for more money, and why do they have higher occupancies. And now we're starting to see conclusive evidence that this is the case. Other key drivers, as I mentioned, the media has done a good job of elevating this locally. Everyone has seen the floods, weather changes, and as Stephen Scrivens mentioned today, those floods were not from just too much water at the wrong time. They were from deforestation and other signs that green building can help by requiring that the wood for green building is sustainably forested. Technology has come up with many exciting new areas. Green certifications. This is what I mentioned before. There's a LEED certification out of the U.S., BREEAM out of the UK, many others around the world, but providing options for people to build to a let's say a more aggressive green qualification. And what I call your neighbor's solar panel. And what this means, if you're talking about green building, and you're the first person, you're the crazy person with the solar panel on the block, and the next time, then finally 1 or 2 people start to follow, and then pretty soon the one person who doesn't have it is the person who didn't get the memo that solar panels are good ideas. So this, I think, we've seen it on our block. We did our green renovation. I'd like to think we inspired a few other renovations along towards better insulation and other types of things. But I think this is a very real phenomenon that's going to spread as green building initiatives from very large office buildings to very small residential form. What we'd like to do is for the green, for the non-members of the Romanian Green Building Council who are considering it, there was a member price for the training this morning, a non-member, and we'd like to extend the member price to those that will become members in the next 2 weeks. Just contact us, and as a bonus to have you join us. We'd like to hear from you going forward. What are your suggestions? If you're not joining, let us know why. What do you want to see in an organization? And then we want to move forward effectively and quickly. And as far as there's many thank yous, I guess. First and foremost, our founding members. They have committed not only financial resources to starting us and really giving us the opportunity to put things together. So we've basically had some additional support, so I want to say thank you there. Also to the RoGBC team, who has been working nonstop for the last, I'd say, 2.5 months to really put this stuff together. The conferences have a lot of work behind it. Anca Bieru with the RoGBC, Laura Nimoanu, who is our conference project manager, Christina Siu, who is has recently joined us, Adrian Pop, who is our Cluj representative, Katja Perry, who has been helping working with business development and talking to some potential members. There's also Anka Marza, who is out in Los Angeles. On the other side, I had met her a few years ago, and she had been really instrumental in pulling together and sending a lot of messages to really people around the world, to organizations around the world, to get our initial conference going, along with this as well. And then Anka Dobrescu as well, and wanted to say thanks for everyone, for all that teamwork. And with that, also to thank you for coming to this event. And before I will introduce the next speaker, but I want to see if there was maybe 1 or 2 questions before I do, and we can go on from there.
Thank you for your presentation. We've seen a lot of companies joined you, but. Isn't this a little bit more like PR-ish?
PR as in public relations?
Yeah, I mean, isn't this a lot of commercial? Give us some examples of the implication of these members, the founding members in green building in Romania.
Okay, I think it's a very good question. I think there's definitely part quality to the whole green trend that has been recent, that there's companies that realize they should be marketing this. In my business experience over the years, I've heard a lot of promises, I've heard a lot of strategies, I heard a lot of core values, mission statements, you name it. But at the end of the day, the one thing I look at is, do they apply budget and do they apply management time? And I would have to say, if we look at all of these founding members, they have definitely applied budget. They've supported us with early. I'll tell you something very interesting. Now is not exactly the best time to be rushing through payments through your accounts payable system. And we had our legal entity was established formally about a week and a half ago. We sent invoices, we needed to pay a hotel, we needed to get a lot of things together in a conference, and all of these companies rushed and pushed through and got us what we needed. They did that. Also, their executives are showing up at our meetings. If the executives aren't showing, somebody is there. If they're not there, they're calling in. So I think, you know, it's a fair question, but I would say from my experience, this is very, very strategic thinking. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, hopefully it is good marketing. Hopefully it brings good results. But I'm a firm believer that this is good business. And you know, many of you know Michael Porter's theories of business competition, and one of the main ones is how do you build sustained profitability, and it's to make a business model that others find difficult to copy. And I think if you can master green building, I don't think it's impossible to do, but I think there's some steps and some real thinking that has to be done. But if you can master this, you will have a strong business proposition going forward. So I see all these companies as taking that step. And as I said, I look at my measure, do they show up, do they actually spend time on it, and do they spend resources? And the answer is yes.
Thank you again.